It's my great pleasure to welcome the two that I forgot to welcome at the beginning, Brent Hawkes and his partner John, husband John, right? Yeah, I get this right. So welcome. I asked Brent, how do you want me to introduce you? And he said, oh, whatever. He is recently retired from being the long-term senior pastor of Toronto. I think you were probably pretty involved in bringing gay and lesbian marriage to Canada, and you got the Order of Canada for that. And you did you built one of the, if not the now largest congregation in all of MCC. You didn't do that alone, but you inspire people. And so these are the things that come to my mind. But he did come back and he said, well, there's one thing. He said, there's one thing I'm really proud of. And he said, I'm the founding pastor of this congregation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Brent, for everything, and I look forward to your message.
It's the job of a guest preacher to always preach a lot longer than the local pastor does, so that you'll never criticize the length of sermons again. So I will do my best to live up to that challenge. So if you're done before I'm done, make sure you put your offerings in the offering plate. Otherwise, here we go. First of all, I want to say thank you to Bruce for inviting me to be here today. So Mark, if you could pass that on to him, a big thank you. It's a real honor to be here. Also, thank you to Catherine and Kathy from our congregation. I almost said from my congregation, but since I retired in January, now I say from our congregation, who came down, especially this evening from Toronto, to be here to worship with me. And thank my partner John for being here, but he didn't have any choice in that. John is a London boy, born and raised here in London, went to Western, and so welcome back home, John. So if you can imagine for a moment why someone would send pipe bombs to two ex-presidents of the United States, and why they would send that to a number of other political leaders just before a major election. Or if you would wonder why it was that someone walked into a grocery store and picked out the two people of color, the first two people of color that they saw, and shot them. Or if you could think for a moment why someone would walk into a synagogue in the midst of worship and kill 11 people yesterday, place of worship. Years ago, a story was told, a true story, about a man connected to the Oklahoma bombing group. And he was called in by the leader of that group and said, we have a job for you to do. You're to go to Kansas City, go to a certain place, and you'll get your instructions. So he flew to Kansas City, met the person to get the instructions, and the person said, here is a bomb that you are to take to this church and this address. You're to walk into the church on Sunday worship, sit down, place the package under your chair. Click the on button, and then leave and get blocks away, because that bomb will explode and level city blocks. Wow. He walked into that church, he sat down, put the bomb under the chair, was ready to reach for the turn on button, and he looked around and he thought, these could be somebody else's brothers or sisters or kids or parents. And he just couldn't do it. And he picked up the bomb and left. That church was the Metropolitan Community Church of Kansas City.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Now, you have all of that, and then you're going to have this statement. There are no bad people who do these things. There are people who have lost their way or who have been damaged. No one is born into this kind of violence. people learn to hate. When people give up hope, they do desperate things. Think for a moment about two young women in Eastern Europe. They fell in love with each other in their late teens. And they knew that they couldn't have a relationship in that country. They couldn't come out to their family and friends. They knew that if they were ever going to have the kind of relationship they dreamed about, they had to leave. And so they went online and they started searching for a place, a church, a faith community. And they came across a church in Toronto. And so they watched online, they watched the webcast services, and they decided that they were going to leave their country, leave their family, leave everything behind, and go to this country because they could go to that church, Country Canada, Church Toronto, City Toronto Church, MCC Toronto. They arrived on the doorstep with almost nothing. People supported them, cared for them, helped them to get going, and a year ago I married them. Imagine for a moment a young boy, 17 years old, threatened with murder by his father because he was gay, had to escape. His mom supported him, his sisters supported him, but he had to escape, so he wasn't going to be killed. This was in the Middle East. He escaped into a third country, somehow got a fake passport. We don't ask how, but he got a fake passport so he could live in that country, but he was terrified that they would find out the passport was fake, and he would be sent back to his home country and murdered. So he reached out to the UNHCR, the United Nations Human Rights Commission, for refugee status. They felt that he was absolutely qualified as a refugee, so they had to find a place, a church, a community group, someone who would sponsor him as a refugee. Immigration Canada called MCC Toronto on the phone and they said, Reverend Hawkes, we're really afraid that this guy is at risk. We'd like to know if your church would sponsor him as a refugee. Now, he's underage, and this is the first time we've ever brought any individual into Canada as a refugee who is underage without their family. But we think this is crucial. They said, you have 24 hours to find him official guardians because he's underage. People who will be responsible for him until he reaches 18. And then you have 48 hours to agree to be his sponsor. So I get on the phone and made some phone calls and very quickly found a couple that said yes. One was a lawyer, one was a veterinarian, and I thought, okay, there's it's a stable relationship, they can manage, they can support. They called up both of their sets of parents and said, we're just about to become parents for a while, will you support us? Both sets of parents said yes. And they called the young man and said that they had a sponsor, and it was a church of a different faith than he was, and it would welcome him. On a Wednesday morning, he got that message in the Middle East. They said, we're coming for you this afternoon to pick you up and to drive you to the airport. And everyone in that car was afraid that the police might stop them and check the documents. When he got to the airport, they had to bribe the exit official so he could leave the country. And he got on the plane and flew to Toronto. We were at the airport, standing there waiting myself, the sponsors, the translator, and this young kid walks down the platform with only a duffel bag, jeans, a t-shirt, and a baseball hat on. And he comes down and talks to the translator, and the translator explains, this is the church, this is the pastor that have sponsored you, these are going to be your guardians. And after talking for a while, he said to the translator, are all of these people gay? So the translator translated it into English, and I gave him the answer, very. Very. Tragedy and horror and hope and new beginnings. This is the life that we live. There is an epidemic of hopelessness in our society. And our society, Canada, the US, and our world needs more of MCC. There was an evangelist in the United States named Rosalind Linker. She stood up one day in a meeting of fundamentalist clergy from the United States. Jerry Falwell was there. And I forgot his name. Sorry?
Fred Phelps?
Oh, not that bad, not Fred Phelps. And a bunch of the big names of fundamentalist clergy were there. And she stood up and she said, God has given me a vision. And whenever fundamentalists have visions, I get afraid. God has given me a vision. And she said this, that the best hope for the future of the Christian church lies in the hands of gay and lesbian Christians. Jerry Falwell told her to shut up. And she said, I can't explain it. I believe it's true. The Christian church in North America is declining and declining quite dramatically. And the future without a vibrant, progressive, inclusive Christian church is a scary future. Many of the leaders in the music field today, many of the leaders in politics today are people who were raised in faith communities, who are taught values and principles in those faith communities. And it scares me what the future might be like without a vibrant Christian church at the heart of who we are as a people. This is serious work that we are about. We are to be the hands and the feet and the voice and the ears of God in our world. And in order for us to do that, there have to be some changes made. And I want to challenge you, MCC London this evening. I want to challenge you with some areas that I think you really need to look at if this church is going to become the church that God wants it to be. And I want to challenge you, each of you individually, as a person sitting in this pew this evening or watching this service later on. I want to challenge you to be open to saying, God, what is your message for me in the next few minutes? What is it you want me to do? How am I to change? How am I to become better? And be open for that message, because this is serious work. The world is dying for MCC. We have to make space for others. And I want to talk about making space in 3 ways. First, making a spiritual space for others. You've probably heard me say, if you've heard me preach before, that you are the only Bible some people will ever read. They will never open this and read any of the Gospels or any of the stories of the early people of faith, but they will watch your life. Particularly if they hear you go to church. It's how you live your life that they will hear the voice of God. It is how you live your life that they will see God at work. And what kind of a God will they see and hear in how you live your life? Making spiritual space. Making sure that this place is spiritually open to others. Welcoming people who believe what you believe and people who don't believe what you believe and people who aren't sure what they believe. Making sure that this is a place where the believer, the skeptic, the unbeliever, the disbeliever, all together on a journey. Making sure that this place is oriented towards the new people. Making sure that you never go to the pastor of the church and say you don't like this or you don't like that. It's another thing to go to the pastor of the church and say, I'm not sure that this or that will work for the new person. I'm not sure that this is the best. Or why can't we do this that might be more open? The litmus test is not what you like. The litmus test is what will work for welcoming new people into this faith community. You know, everything that you like about this service, one day, someone was mad in hell that it was introduced into the service because it was a change for them. You know, I often tell the story of a woman in our congregation in Toronto. We introduced things at the beginning of the season. So when the Lent season came, we introduced some changes to worship. And we introduced a new song at a very particular part of the service. And she came to me after the service and she said, I hate that change. I really, really don't like that change. And I said, well, experience it for a few weeks and then come and talk to me. So 6 weeks later, at the end of Lent, she came to me, she said, you know, it's the end of Lent, and I really hope you don't change back. Because I really like that change. It takes a while. It takes a while, because it's a change. Stay spiritually open. Staying spiritually vibrant. Making sure that worship is always evolving and changing, to be able to communicate the gospel in new ways all the time. Music is absolutely crucial. hope you can hear me. Music is absolutely crucial. Make it amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. This church is blessed. How can you build on that? How can you make sure that the music in this service is vibrant and exciting, that people are ministered to by hearing a solo or a duet or a choir? How can you build that kind? At MCC Toronto, I always knew where I fit. I always came second after the music. Always knew that, right? Whenever they did an evaluation and sermons were evaluated higher than music, I'd often say, what's wrong with the music? Because it almost always was this way. In every penny you spend in music will reap you dollars. Every hour you spend in a rehearsal will reap rewards. Because music can touch people's hearts in ways that sermons never will. Vibrant worship, evolving worship. And always remembering that the church is not a country club for the members. And the church is not a hospital for the sick. The church is a fitness center to get people in shape spiritually so that they can go out into the world and be that hand and voice of God in the world. Your job here in church is not just to enjoy what you experience. Your job here in church is to get fit, is to grow spiritually, is to mature spiritually, so you can be that instrument of healing and love and reconciliation, so that you can be that voice of hope for the person who's about ready to give up hope. Secondly, making a community space, not just a spiritual space, but a community space, where people can experience family, where people can find friends, that this is a friend-making space. The research done by Diana Butler-Bass, a brilliant researcher from the United States, she researched churches in Canada, the US. She surveyed people about why they go to church, what they're looking for, what they want out of church. And one of the main things they want out of church is they want it to be a place where they're going to make friends for their lifetime, where they can find these lifelong friendships. A place where people can belong, where people know your name. After all, what is your middle name? Metropolitan Community Church. Community is your middle name. And it's crucial that you take a look at how you make this a welcoming and safe community. And it will not be safe as long as one group doesn't like another group. As long as men don't like women, or women don't like men, or straight people don't like trans, or whatever dichotomy you want to set up. And the scripture says that we are to care for one another, and it's very interesting, it says, especially for the household of faith. That you're to care for people, yes, but especially you're to care for each other. Why? So that if you're caring for each other, then you have this healthy base to be able to care for the world. Caring for each other, yes. It means forgiveness. Yes, it means compassion. But it also means some tough things. Jesus said, they will know that you are my disciples by the way you love one another. And there's a thing called tough love. You know, there's a scripture that I once discovered in the Old Testament that says that one day the shepherds of the flock, which means all of us, but it does mean the clergy in particular, but it means all of us, that one day the shepherds of the flock will be held accountable for the sheep entrusted to their care. And that terrified me when I thought about the people who had been driven out of our church by inappropriate behavior of some people in the church. And how one day I would be held accountable for that. And tough love means that there comes a time when we have to hold each other accountable. You know, in a small congregation, one or two really energetic, positive, spirit-filled people can light up the congregation, can really encourage people, inspire people to make commitments, to be involved. to come back. But it's also true that in a smaller congregation, one or two people can tear that congregation apart. When they bring their own baggage, when they bring their own challenges into the faith community. Yes, I believe that we should bring whatever we have and lay it on the altar, but I don't think it means we're supposed to spread it around before we get to the altar. And I think it's important when we see people doing that mischief-making and attacking other people or spreading gossip or dissent, it is crucial for us to exhibit toughness, to challenge people to better behavior. And I know this is going to horrify some of you, but it is also appropriate and biblical sometimes to say, you're welcome here, but your behavior isn't. And if your behavior continues, then maybe you need to find another place to worship. Because otherwise, you're saying it's okay for them to stay and to continue that kind of behavior while they drive people away. Time for me to move on. The third place is making a physical space if we're going to make space for others. And that comes from everything. Can people find a parking space? Is it easy to find the door to get into the building? How many doors do you have to knock on or try before you find the right one? I would love to see 2 or 3 of you get together and start to develop the eye of the first-time visitor. Just sometime come to church and say, okay, if we were the first time we've been here, how easy is it to find the door to get in? It isn't, folks. It needs to be easier, whether that's signs or greeters or whatever you need to do to make it easier. How easy is it for people to find the washrooms or the social hall? If you're a regular, you know all these things, and you just assume everybody else does. The world needs more of MCC. That people are dying to experience what you're experiencing. There are 70-some countries in the world where everyone in this room would be arrested, gay or straight, for being in a worship service like this. And yet you have this privilege of coming here every single Sunday. What a gift that you've been given. Please don't ever take this place for granted. There was a time when we had 17 metropolitan community churches in Canada. Today we have 3. The world needs more of MCC. London needs more of MCC London. And the church growth efforts would say, you either grow or you die. That people will only hang in for a while if they don't see the church growing and developing. We have to make space spiritually, we have to make space as a community, we have to make physical space for others. You know, there's an old-fashioned word called evangelism. And I was raised a strict fundamentalist Baptist. And evangelism simply means sharing the good news. God has given us the good news. This amazing gift called life that we've been given. The amazing opportunity to wake up every day, to love and to be loved, to learn, to try again, to have a second chance at making changes in our lives. The opportunity to make a difference in our world. All of these things are gifts that we've been given. And the scripture says, to whom much is given, much shall be required. Much is required of us. We are blessed people. And I ask you, MCC London, as a group, and I ask you individually, to take seriously your own spirituality and the kind of witness you are in the world. Do people know you for your forgiveness and your compassion and your unconditional love? Or do they know you as a troublemaker and a gossiper and a negative person? What is the Bible that people are reading when they meet you? And I would ask you to renew your passion to grow this church so that this church can become the place to go in London, the place where there is vibrant worship, the place where it's a progressive community where really everyone is welcome, a place that is inclusive and represents the face of the city. What is it you have to do personally to make that possible? The early Christian church was that kind of place. The author says, awe came upon everyone because wonders and signs, people were being healed and changed. And all who believed were together and had all things in common. And they would sell their possessions and goods and distribute the proceeds to anyone who has need. They were taking care of each other, to making sure each other was okay. And day by day, they spent time together in the temple. They broke bread at home, invited people over for meals in their homes. And they did so with glad and generous hearts, praising God and having the goodwill of the people. Can you imagine? They were a faith community that the community thought were pretty good. And as a result, day by day, God was adding to their numbers those who were being saved. You have a great basis here, MCC London. You have a wonderful, wonderful, loving, gentle, kind, smart, dedicated pastor. You've got some faith leaders who can step in and lead worship with a gentle, spirit-filled heart that you just want to listen to more of what she's going to say. Keep on praying. I like what I'm hearing. You have a musician who can bring the place alive with music. You stole one of our best volunteers from our church, Mark Warren. You've got here the basis of what can become the church, God's church in London. My prayer for you is that you will hear that the world is dying and needs MCC London and needs you. Amen.